Isang pinagpalang araw po mga kapatid at binabati ko po ang bawat isa ng Shalom. Today, I would like to share to you mula po sa isang katanungan na pinabot sa atin ng ating kapatid. Ang kanyang tanong ay ganito: ano ba ang kahulugan ng kapahingahan o yung rest na binabanggit doon sa Book of Hebrews? And nais ko po na ang bawat isa na rin ay makabahagi dito sa ating puntugon. Jesus famously said, "Come to me, all of you who labor and are heavily laden, and I will give you rest." Yan po ay mula sa Book of Matthew, chapter 11, verse 28. Now, napakarami po mga tao, dahil nga po sa kapahayagan ito ng ating Panginoong Yesus, ay naghangad nitoong binabanggit niyang ito na rest o kapahingahan. Tayo pong lahat, hinahanap natin ito. But what is God's rest? What image does the word rest conjure up in our mind? Kung ako po tatanungin nyo, maiisip ko po siguro white beaches with coconut trees and blue waters and clear skies. May kasama panduyan at isang baso ng masarap na lemon. Pwede yun. Or pwedeng sabihin natin na yung rest ay maiisip natin books and couch. Yan. Or para sa iba naman, pag sinabing rest ay Netflix. Or kundi naman ay paglalaro ng sports. But what does God envision? Yan po ang mahalagang tanong. What is God's rest? Kaya nga po, hayaan yung simulan muna natin basahin yung sinasabi dun mismo sa Book of Hebrews in chapter 4, verse 1 to 13. At ito nga po, Hebrews chapter 4, verse 1 to 13. Therefore, since the promise of entering His rest still stands, let us be careful that none of you be found to have fallen short of it. For we also have the gospel preached to us, just as they did. But the message they heard was of no value to them, because those who heard did not combine it with faith. Now, we who have believed enter that rest, just as God has said, "So I declare on oath in my anger, they shall never enter rest." And yet His work has been finished since the creation of the world. For somewhere He has spoken about the seventh day in these words, "And on the seventh day God rested from all His work." And again, in the passage above, He says, "They shall never enter my rest." It still remains that some will never enter that rest, and those who formerly had the gospel preached to them did not go in because of their disobedience. Therefore, God again set a certain day, calling it today. Today. When a long time later He spoke through David, it was said before, "Today, if you hear His voice, do not harden your heart." For if Joshua had given them rest, God would not have spoken later about another day. There remains then a Sabbath rest for the people of God. For anyone who enters God's rest also rests from his work, just as God did from His. Let us therefore make every effort to enter that rest, so that no one will fall by following their example of disobedience. For the Word of God is living and active, sharper than any double-edged sword. It penetrates even to dividing soul and spirit, joints and marrow. It judges the thoughts and attitudes of the heart. Nothing in all creation is hidden from God's sight. Everything is uncovered and laid bare before the eyes of Him to whom we must give account. Ayan. Salamat po sa Panginoon sa Kanyang buhay na salita. So, sa atin pong binasa, balik po tayo dun sa tanong, what is God's rest? Meron po tayong 3 puntos na nais natin ibahagi sa video na ito. Number 1, to discover what God's rest is, we must look at what came before Hebrews 4. Sabi po, early Jewish Christians, kaya nga tinawag itong libro itong Hebrews, were tempted to engage in the Old Testament rituals once again. God offered them a relationship through Christ, not a ritualistic religious observance of Him. In Hebrew 3, these folks were invited to come into the rest of God. So at least part of God's rest was to cease from the Old Testament religious observances. Second, to define God's rest, we must also look at what comes in Hebrews 4. The author will point us to the 7th day of creation, or Eden, the promised land after Joshua's conquest, and the Sabbath system instituted by God. So another facet to God's rest is found in all 3, for they are at least emblematic of what Christ offers to His people. And thirdly, and finally, to define God's rest, we must look at what comes after Hebrews 4. The author will conclude his book with a crescendo of praises to describe the new life to come. He wrote of the city that has foundations, our homeland, which is our heavenly country and city. Ito po'y matatagpuan natin doon sa Hebrews 11, verse 10, and 14, and 16. So he talked of the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem. Yun yung binabanggit sa Hebrews 12, verse 22. He said it was the kingdom that cannot be shaken, the lasting city that is to come. So another facet of God's rest is found in the eternal city and the destiny of God's people. If I may say, the final destiny of God's people. So God's rest is a place, but also a state of being. It is yet future, but we can enter it right now. It is as if the heavenly throne room is trying to reach down into our current experience, our modern lives, and alter our experience. Our tomorrow should influence our today. Our eschatological hope should impact our daily grind. Or to put it another way, our Father in heaven speaks from His throne with that hope that His children would allow His word and promises and truth to bring them into rest today, ngayon po. So believers cannot fake God's rest. We should not pretend we have God's rest when we do not. So we must become willing to express our need to God. Not only God, but also others. We must honestly and transparently ask for help from God to enter entirely into God's rest. Kapatid, His rest is available. And it's by faith we come into it. At tandaan po natin, ang nagbibigay ng kaganapan o yung fullness ng rest na ito ay ang Kanyang buhay na salita. Maliban doon, ay wala na ako maire-recommend sa iyo, kapatid. Only through the living Word of God that we can achieve true rest. So, let us daily pursue Him and the life He has in store for us. Amen po ba, kapatid? Sana ay napagpala ka at naunawaan natin na napakahalaga ng kapahingahan sa Panginoon. So, huwag po natin kalimutan yan. May oras para sa lahat ng bagay, may oras ang paggawa, pero huwag kalilimutan ang mahalagang oras para magpahinga. Yun lamang po sa ngayon at nawa ay na-bless ka. Muli, salamat po. Shalom.